Welcome back, everyone. Tonight, we take another look at APC's victory in the just concluded Edo governorship election. And joining me for that discussion tonight is Senator Ajibola Bashiru, who is the National Secretary, All Progressives Congress. Senator, good evening to you. Thanks a lot. Welcome to Politics Tonight.
Yeah, good evening. How are you?
Very fine, thank you. It's good to see you again. So congratulations to your party. I mean, that was a fiercely contested race, especially, in Nigerian politics where the power of incumbency is never undermined. And we saw the pre-election campaigns looking like a do-or-die affair for some politicians and their political parties. But for you, what are the factors that you would say contributed to this victory for your party? And as a National Secretary, what does this victory mean for your party?
Yes, first we thank Almighty God, and we also, thank the good people of Edo State for reposing confidence in our party and our candidates at the election by giving us an overwhelming victory in the Saturday, election. But of course, we must say that the victory is not very easy in coming. And in this regard, I must first and foremost, on behalf of the National Working Committee of our party, express our appreciation to the leadership role that our president, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, played in resolving all the pre-election issues that would have allowed our party to go into that contest as a body that is very unified. You will recollect that we started on a very not too good note by having a primary aborted, and having to conduct another primary where Senator Monday Okpebolo emerged. But of course, the president has quickly stepped in together with the other leaders of the party, the vice president and the chairman of the party, to ensure that we let there to be consensus. And in this regard, too, I must also commend the statesmanship of our leader in Edo State, Comrade Adams Oshiomhole, for allowing fences to be mended quickly, and of course getting Dennis Idausa, a very young, vibrant House of Rep member, to be on the ballot together with Senator Monday Okpebolo. So coming into the election, I will say that our party came into that election as a unified force, and of course we're also able to also profit and harvest the shenanigan from the incumbent governor of Edo State in fighting leading members of his political party, and of course in also alienating people on the ground of lack of adherence to rule of law and anti-democratic practices. Nigerians will recollect that the primaries that under which Asue emerged itself is still a subject of judicial controversy because it was not democratic, and a lot of people in the legacy PDP that gave their platform to Obaseki in 2020 felt alienated. People like Honorable Ogbede Iyama, who is now a member of the Niger Delta Power Holding board, had to leave the party. So Dan Obi was also suspended by every National Working Committee of the party. So the opposition party, who was in government in Edo State, was already divided, depleted into the election, whereas kudos to our leaders in our party. We came into the election with a united force, and of course we ran a campaign based on grassroots campaign, appealing to the electorate on word to word, unit by unit, market to market. We are not getting our own campaign on online scenario, or what our leader Oshiomhole we call artificial intelligence. We actually carried our campaign to the doorstep of everyone. And when you see the election, quite keenly contested, but overwhelmingly, our party had a very sizable, unassailable majority in that election.
Right, so I'm sure you're not surprised that the PDP rejected the result and may head to court. But does it bother you that some CSOs are implying that the results of the election were manipulated and that the election failed integrity tests? And they've gone on to call on INEC to review the results based on what was uploaded on the IRF portal.
You see, let me first and foremost say that it appears that there is something wrong with some of us politicians in Nigeria. Anytime election result is announced, even before you have time to analyze, we have almost about 4,000 polling units in Edo State. How many polling unit results have been analyzed to come to a position that they are rejecting election results? And on the part of the PDP, you will recollect that midway into the election, our party had to issue a statement that a force fake election result had been put forward by the PDP claiming victory even when election was still being conducted. In this regard, even Premium Times had to come up with a categorical statement that the result being brought out was the result of 2020 election. How can you give yourself a win in an election when election was still being conducted? So maybe in your brain you won the election, but in reality you did not win the election. As for the CSO, I've also read some credible CSO and non-interested organizations like the NBA who have given kudos to the election. But we know some NGO in Nigeria, with respect to some CSO, they are getting their sustenance, they are getting their livelihood from getting money from international organizations to demarket our country. And this is grossly unpatriotic. Electoral justice system is clear. If you have grievances about the election, once INEC had made a return, you go to the tribunal to be able to ventilate your grievance. But when you see a CSO coming up with his own fashion of result, you also saw Governor Fintiri, even before INEC announced his own result, come and announce some set of result. And when I was looking at Governor Fintiri, it just reminded me that this is a man that benefited from the integrity and from the forthrightness of INEC in rejecting a result purportedly announced by a person not given that responsibility, now going forward to turn himself to the latest Orubebe in Nigeria. Just bringing down the integrity and honor of the office of governor. The same thing with Governor Obaseki. Our leaders, including myself, we had to go and eject him from the office of the Independent Electoral Commission overnight, attempting possibly to try to manipulate and undermine democratic process. Our position is this: is it only when opposition win election that you will see election is free and fair? The midterm election have been conducted. We won in Kogi, we won in Imo, and we lost in Bayelsa. Now we have conducted election. NEC had done election in Edo State, and we won the election. Even from the result of the election, you can see it was clearly contested.
But Senator, the CSOs are not the only. Senator, the CSOs are not the only organizations speaking. We have former President Goodluck Jonathan, who had said the outcome of last weekend's governorship election in Edo State had shown that technology would not solve Nigeria's electoral challenges. The former president said the human mindset was key to resolutions of the electoral problem. So do you in any way align with his line of thought?
The problem, I will see what you have said, that the revered former president has not said anything to undermine the electoral contest. And I've not read anywhere President Goodluck Jonathan has said that our party did not get the victory he got on election. He was making a comment about technology and election. And as a scholar, I have a paper that I've written that there appear to be a mismatch between public expectation and public illusion about the use of technology in the election and the actual provisions of the Electoral Act. My article is published in the Nigerian Bar Journal and is also published in the Garki Law Journal. These are intellectual issues. Go and check section 60 of the Electoral Act. There's nothing that is taken away from the fact that election has to be conducted, concluded at polling unit, result announced, and recorded on Form ECHA. The primary result of election is what agent of political party will collect at the polling unit, not what anybody is talking about technology. There's no electronic voting in Nigeria. There's no, use of this technology that is being said. If at all, is only to aid, expeditious collation of result of election. So if election have been done, won and lost at polling unit, and people are talking about technology, I don't know which provisions they are calling it on. So as far as we should make a distinction between aspirational comment made by President Goodluck Jonathan and what I would call a shenanigan comment by some unpatriotic, and I use that word advisedly, a civil society organization who have never and will never see anything good from Nigeria so far, that they're able to get dollars and pounds from their funders offshore.
All right. So, Senator, on a lighter note, what magic did the APC perform to have made the people who were supposed to vote for Olumide Akpata of the Labour Party vote for Monday Okpebholo? Because the candidate is insisting that the people who voted for him online were on ground to vote, but they sold their votes to the APC. So what magic did the APC perform?
I never knew that my learned friend Olumide Akpata is a comedian. When I heard that comment, I said, perhaps being a successful lawyer is not mutually exclusive from being a successful comedian. Maybe you should also try, some hand in being a comedian. How can you come and say that even in your own polling unit, or Pata's polling unit, he lost in his polling unit? Was he sleeping? And even when he was coming to polling unit, he come with air of arrogance. Somebody was holding his umbrella when he was coming. You are not even showing you are part of the people. And on the contrary, when you say our candidate, he stood in the crowd, on the queue, with the people. So you came with air of arrogance, and you think because you can blow grammar on the internet, then that would fetch you votes. Then of course, there's a difference between winning an election on social media and conducting election in real time. Yes, we agree. When it comes to social media, he claimed that he got 79% online poll. But what I know is that the voters of our party who are in Uselu Market, who are in Ugbowo, who are in Uwasota, who are in Ekenwa Junction, who are in Akoko Edo, Owan East, or Riowo, they are not part of that shenanigan they call online polling. We put our campaign to the grassroots. We campaign for the real men. And when you look at the result of the election, it shows that Labour Party was not in the contest in the election. Why is it that it is only the people that wanted to vote for Akpata is only from APC that they collected money and they did not collect money from PDP? It's not even true. We did not buy vote. We conducted our election based on appealing to the people. And of course, the opposition was not cohesive. Obaseki had alienated himself from the political class in Edo State. He has alienated himself from the traditional class in Edo State. He has even instilled fear in people who ought to even have come to vote by talking about do or die election. And of course, the killing of a policeman in daylight are also, has sent a wrong signal to people who ordinarily would even have come and exercise their franchise one way or the other. So we must contextualize all these issues. As far as I'm concerned, the allegation or whatever say so of Mr. Olumide Akpata is a beer parlor joke, and I think coming from somebody of his professional provenance, I think it may be worthwhile. Maybe he will consider a job in comedy.
All right. Let's also talk about APC's resolution mechanism. How much influence did the manner in which APC managed the aftermath of the primaries play here? For instance, Adams Oshomole's candidate didn't emerge as the candidate. Rather, it was Issa Yamu's candidate. There were deflections here and there, and the unity of the party was in question. And I'm asking because in the build-up to that election, the party was factionalized. We had members of the integrity group insisting they would not vote for Senator Okpebolo. There was another group saying they would not leave the party because of the respect they have for Mr. President, but will not vote for the party's candidates. And many wondered how APC was going to win if party members are disgruntled over the marketability of the candidates and the party leaders were not listening to them. So what lessons do you think aggrieved members and leadership of political parties can take away from this in regards to internal dispute resolution mechanisms?
I think the first thing I said on this program was to thank and express our gratitude to the leader of the party, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and of course the vice president and all other leaders of the party for ensuring that we manage effectively the primary dispute. And there's nothing like Oshiomhole candidate or Issa Yamu candidate. The chief campaigner for our candidate, Monday Okpebolo, is comrade Senator Adams Oshiomhole. And you can see him all over the place, campaigning and appealing to the grassroots. He followed our candidate to every nook and cranny of Edo State. And when you look at the result of Esako West, where he comes from, where also the deputy governor of Edo State, Comrade Philip Shuaibu, come from, and of course the chairman of our party, Comrade Jarrett, also came from. You can see that overwhelmingly the PDP and Labour Party were defeated in that place. That shows the unity that our party took into that election. There was no acrimony, there was no problem. I was on ground in Edo State, and I know all our leaders work together in unity to ensure that we have this victory. So kudos go to the leadership of the party at the national level and also the maturity of our leaders at the state level to ensuring we harmonize our position and know that the kind of governance, bad governance of Godwin Obaseki should not continue in the form of Aso Ighodalo. If Aso Ighodalo has any other about governance, let him go and wait and conduct and wait for another election.
Also, the practice of turning elections into a do-or-die affair, how do we discourage this to avert undermining the electoral process through violence? Because before the elections, we heard statements like Nigeria will burn, and that statement was flying around. Also, did you think that contributed to low voter turnout on that day?
As far as we are concerned, as a political party, we campaign on the platform of rejuvenating Edo State. We campaign on the platform of leading Edo State of people who have come to colonize Edo State without anything to show in terms of good governance in the past 8 years. We were never a party of the do-or-die politics. And the statement that you alluded to was clearly made by somebody who's supposed to be this Chief Security Officer of the state, and that is Mr. Godwin Obaseki. He was the one that was talking of burning down the country and talking about do or die politics. We conducted our affairs, we conducted our campaign on the basis of peace, on the basis of prosperity, and common good for Edo. You can also see the level of desperation of Mr. Obaseki going to the office of the Resident Electoral Commissioner at 1:32 a.m. at Ogoli hour. We had to go there, with the DIG, had to go there to get him out of that place. The question we ask, what was he doing? He was not on the ballot. He is not qualified to be an agent of a local party by law. Then what the business is Mr. Obaseki doing in that place? I think people who don't have the temperament of politicking, who don't have the grace of knowing that politics come with humility, should have no business in doing politics. 2020, he won. 2016, he won. Then if he's now failing in this time around, why should it be a do-or-die affair? The APC was still, the federal government in 2020 when we were defeated in that place. And there was no problem. We went back to the drawing board, plan and make sure that we're able to come back in a unified manner, and we won the election.
Senator, reacting to that, Godwin Obaseki said he was at the INEC office to meet the resident electoral commissioner after getting reports that the commission had stopped collation. That was as a response to what you just said. So how do we ensure that that particular situation or incident does not lay a bad precedent for future elections?
The excuse made by Mr. Obaseki, how does it sound to you? That a governor will leave the comfort of his house at 1:32 a.m. only to go and ask why did collation stop? The question Nigerians and Edo State should ask is this: Mr. Obaseki, does he not have a party chairman? The PDP, do they not have national chairman and national secretary like myself? They do not have a state agent that will interface with INEC. Certainly, that excuse is not excuse. He could have gone there for some other thing, but to say that was the reason why he went there, he can tell that to the Marines. He can't tell that to any reasonable, Nigerian.
All right, let me take you up on other issues, because you, as a national secretary of the APC, opposition parties say there was the federal might factor, which was meant to intimidate the opposition. We heard Governor Obaseki alleging that the APC used the police to wage war against this party, and that was why there were over 40,000 security personnel on ground. How do you react to these allegations against your party? Because some have said, truly, the number of security personnel dispatched for just the governorship election was too much.
I think Nigerians should ask Mr. Obaseki, in 2020, which party was in government when he won his re-election? And how many police officers were deployed in that election? You see, it's easier for students who don't prepare for exam to blame teachers for their failure. The reality was that the security had to be beefed up because Mr. Obaseki himself said the election, and it's in black and white, it's on video, it's going to be a do-or-die affair, and that we burn Nigeria. Do you want somebody, the president that swore to uphold the constitution and to secure Nigerians, to be looking at a sitting governor carry that threat? But fortunately, on the day of election, a day before the election, on the day of election, and after declare of victory, there was no incident. That shows that the lie of Obaseki and his people that they were popular in Edo State. The election went on peacefully, and nobody was harassed, nobody was molested. Right. And of course, I like the response of the IG when they talk about people being arrested for killing policemen. Do you expect a responsible police force not to arrest suspects killing a policeman?
Senator, let's take a break, and when we come back, we will continue this conversation. Please stay with us, everyone. Welcome back, everyone. Senator Ajibola Bashiru is my guest tonight and is the National Secretary of the All Progressives Congress. Tonight, we continue to get more insight into APC's victory in the just concluded Edo governorship election. Senator, thank you so much for staying with us on Politics Tonight. I want us to shift our attention to INEC's overall performance in that election, because there were disturbing instances of vote buying, logistical challenges in the election, and some reports highlighted incidents of bribery, delays and irregularities observed across various polling units. You know, logistics used to be a major challenge during conduct of elections, but this time, how will you rate INEC?
I think largely INEC had been able to get up a system that address the IDADO logistic challenge they have. They now have rack tech centers where materials will be deployed very close to the polling units ahead of the day of the election. And that also happened. And when we talk about some of these challenges, you will recollect that we have more than 4,000 polling units in Edo State. And some of them are far-flung, like when you talk of Akoko Edo, Owan East and Owan West, who are in the far border of the state. Even when you look at Esako, they are very far. So when people talk some of these challenges, you have to ask how many percentage of polling units were affected by this slight each in terms of logistic development and deployment. And secondly, too, you also know that people will know that on the day of election in this Benin City, there was heavy downpour in the morning of the election. And of course, one will know definitely that would affect the early deployment of materials. Then in some parts of even Edo State, like Ikpoboha, there was riverine areas whereby you would need to even use some other means of transportation to get to those locations. Those are part of the logistic challenges that INEC confronted, and they were able to deal with such challenges. In few polling units where election could not commence till about 11 a.m., INEC had to extend voting till about 4 p.m. And I think that would effectively took care of the time lost in terms of deployment. Then in terms of vote buying, I don't know anybody that have evidence of vote buying from their own political party should come with it. As far as my party is concerned, we mobilize the people based on our program and our manifesto, and we have nothing to do with issue of vote buying, and we don't have any evidence of such vote buying. But it's easier for people who cannot even win their polling unit. The question you ask yourself, if you're a gubernatorial candidate and people can buy votes in your unit and you cannot apprehend anybody, then you can go and tell your story to the Marines. And that is why anything said by Mr. Olumide Akwata should be taken with a pinch of salt. And of course, in terms of monitoring electoral process, Electoral Act is clear that you deploy agents. You have agents in every polling unit, every agent at collation center, and agent at the local government collation and the state level. But you discover that some of these political parties that are coming to talk, they don't even have agents in many polling units. They don't even have party structure. They only exist on social media. Politics is for the masses. Politics is about the people. Politics is about reaching out to the real people and not to imaginary individuals sitting in one place and using data to manipulate opinion posts on Twitter or on Facebook.
All right, Senator, but overall, what more reforms do you think we need to make our electoral process better?
I think largely the problem is not with our electoral process. The election, as far as we are concerned, conducted was free and fair and in compliance with the Electoral Act. The problem we have is sociological. Many politicians don't believe that even when they lose election, they have actually lost election. And when I say this, I say, I mean, this as a practical person. I've contested election, I've won, I've contested election, I've lost without having to go to tribunal. So people should get mature politically to know that in a contest, somebody must win, somebody, must lose. There's no perfect system in the whole world. The question you ask yourself is this: people that are talking about Edo State, have they even sat down to look at the result of the election? This was an election that in 17 out of 18 local governments, our party won in 11. The opposition party won in 7 of the local governments. Then they won in 2 senatorial districts, Central and South, though with marginally about 10,000 margin, while we won in Edo North with a substantial majority. And the question you should ask yourself: why should we not win in Edo North the way we have been able to win, which was what tilted the victory in our favor? This was the zone where we have a sitting senator, where we have the Minister of Niger Delta, where we have a deputy governor that has been pronounced wrongly impeached by Obaseki, and Obaseki has refused to follow, the dictates of the law, but it's within our work with our party. This is where we have former Minister Clemagba and many other gladiators of our party. So the demography, the structure is in our favor to win that election. So the complaint should not be about winning an election or about trying to demonize the electoral process. It's about having political maturity and the honesty to accept that the Edo people have spoken, and have spoken in favor of APC and Senator Monday Okwebolo. And when people talk about rule of law, when they talk about democracy, you ask yourself, these are just hypocritical people. Is it Obaseki that imposed somebody who is not even a member of PDP on PDP members that will be talking of democracy? Is it Obaseki that glaringly refused to obey the court order in restating Philip Shuaibu as the bona fide deputy governor of the state that is talking about rule of law? Is it Obaseki that was using the ESN to terrorize and dehumanize opposition member that is talking about the president deploying security in the state?
Senator, that's an allegation you cannot substantiate tonight.
The house, Senator, the property of Monday Kabaka that is talking about rule of law. All right. We should probe ourselves as politicians. We should inquire ourselves. If you want to point finger to yourself too and ask yourself, those things you are saying should not be done, why are you also not doing it?
All right, let's move away from Edo State. Let's talk about the next hurdle for the APC, which is the Ondo State governorship election. Can the APC retain power in Ondo State? How ready is the APC?
You see, Ondo State election, if you follow what is going on in Ondo State, what has happened is that first and foremost, just like Edo State, we have been able to manage the post-primary crisis. The gladiators, all of them, are now working closely with our candidate, Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa. So as far as we are concerned, we are entering the political contest as a unified family. On the contrary, when you look at the opposition party, because after the election, I will come in November 21 now, and after losing the election, they will start calling for the head of INEC chairman and INEC. That their primary, they were unable to manage the outcome of it. Victor Akinjo, who was an aspirant in that contest, is now a member of our political party as the camp. A major gladiator, a major leader of PDP in Ondo State, former Governor Mimiko, with his political dynasty, they have moved to our party, the APC. Some other key actors within the PDP, former senator all over, Aki Elure, they are now within the APC. So when you look at Ondo today, the political party to beat that has a configuration of more than 85% of people who are doing politics, not online comedians, are within the structure of the APC. So as far as we are concerned, we'll continue. In a matter of weeks, we are going to launch our campaign council. We are going to conduct ethical, peaceful campaign, and we are very confident by the support of Almighty God, and putting all structure in place that we are going to have a landslide victory for our party in Ondo State.
But as the national secretary of the party, what's your message to the people of Ondo State? Why should Ondo people trust the APC for another 4 years?
Well, they have been trusting us in the past, 8 years. Close to 8 years now, when of blessed memory, late Akeredolu became the governor. And when you contrast what was happening before Akeredolu are becoming governor and what you have now, and with even under Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa, you see a quantum leap in terms of infrastructure development of the people of Ondo State. When you also go in terms of what is happening in agriculture sector, you see what our government is doing. And when you also come in terms of engagement with the youth, engagement with the women, and of course market engagement, you discover that our party has had a qualitative impact on the people of Ondo State. So we don't have any iota of doubt that Ondo State people are wise. They have self-interest to ensure that it's only our party that can guarantee sustenance of development in Ondo State. And that is, the trump card that we have against all our opponents in that contest.
All right. One more issue, Senator, before I let you go tonight. Let's talk about the efforts of the national leadership of the APC in resolving the crisis in some APC-troubled states. Why has it been hard for peace to return to Benue APC? Why is the party so factionalized? We have the SGF faction, we have Governor Alia's faction, and at the moment, the Benue National Assembly Caucus has accused the governor of undermining peace efforts initiated by Mr. President and the APC to resolve the party crisis in Benue State. How true is this?
You see, it's only in the context of politics that you will be able to know that the job of a political party is to aggregate different interests and harmonize those interests. We have been doing our best at the level of National Working Committee and, of course, with the support of the President to ensure that we address the challenges that we have in Benue State. And, of course, it was part of that effort that led to the dissolution of the State Working Committee and setting up of a caretaker committee in that regard. Now that the process is on, we will continue to engage the gladiators in the contest, that is our leader, the SGF, and of course the governor, who is also the leader of the party, in a way to amicably resolve this problem. But of course, you know that in this kind of contest, some followers too could be overzealous and try to see that even when there is harmony, they may not have the necessary relevance that they have in that context. But I'm very confident that with the effort that the National Working Committee is making, and of course with the support of Mr. President, who has shown as a leader of the party is concerned about equitable resolution of any issue that will arise that would impede the success of our party, we will be able to address that challenge in no mean time.
Well, Senator, is it true that Governor Alia has refused to engage in peace talks initiated by the President or the national leadership of the party? How true is it that on 2 different occasions he had ignored 2 different dates? First date, the governor said he was under the weather. The second date, all other parties showed up, but the governor did not. Because I've had both factions on this program, and it looks like only a political solution can resolve this issue.
I'm not going to go into details of allegations against A or B. If I should do that, then that means I don't know my onions as National Secretary of a ruling political party. What I can say is that all hands are on deck to ensure that all parties see the need for us to consolidate on Benue State and, of course, to resolve all the issues. North Central is a very cardinal area that is of strength for our political party, and we will not rest on our hearts to ensure that we nip the issue in the bud. We want to appeal to those people that quickly take issue of internal party disputes to the press to please desist. This is a matter of family dispute, and you don't take it to the public, where people who will not even be able to help you, who is going to help you when you externalize, when they don't even have the necessary means to resolve the matter. So I want to appeal to all parties in the contest to refrain from incendiary public comments, to refrain from externalizing effort at resolution of the problem, and also to believe that at the end of the day, it is not Governor Alia or Senator Akume that will be on the ballot it will be our logo, and the logo of our party is umbrella, which symbolizes unity, solidarity, and consolidation.
Senator, it became very important for me to have this conversation with you because some members of the party in Benue State have accused the NWC of being biased because there was a conversation we had, and I was very curious as to why the NWC turned around to sack the Agada-led state executives, because I remember that the last directive from Abuja was that all ongoing cases found in the name of the party or associated with matters concerning the party and involving party members must be discontinued and withdrawn from the court. Comrade Agada claimed he did just as the NWC directed, and I'm wondering why the turnaround of events. How did the National Working Committee come to a conclusion that he should step aside?
The National Working Committee, as a apex political leadership of the party, work in consultation with other concerned stakeholders, and whatever decision we take, we have taken those decisions in the best interest of the party and not that of any individual member, whether member of NWC or whether member of state working committee. And whatever we are doing, we are not doing it in isolation. We are doing it in consultation with all gladiators in Benue State, including the SGF and the governor. So I wouldn't want to go into details of what led to that decision, but it suffice to say that that decision was taken not to side up with any side or to improve the position of any side, but to work for harmony, to work for unity, and to work for eventual resolution of the issue. And I want to appeal to those groups that are quick to go to the press to desist from going to the press. Not everything that happen behind closed door politically that you take to the press. It does not augur well for amicable resolution of such dispute. There are internal family disputes within the party which will be resolved democratically and within the overall interest of the party.
Senator, it was also surprising to see that the Benue State High Court restrained the APC NWC from dissolving the State Working Committee. But in spite of that court order, the NWC later announced the dissolution of the Agada-led State Working Committee in clear contravention against the court order. One, why was the court order ignored? I mean, you're a lawyer. Does this speak well of the APC National Working Committee?
You see why you can see that I'm laughing. When I'm laughing is this. You see, in political contests, people will always mention court order, court order, court order. Court orders are not served on the pages of newspaper. Court orders are not served on here at TVC administration. If you have court order, the court order must be served effectively on the party against whom the order had been made. You cannot just go and say you have court order. The National Working Committee is a law and order committee. If you have effective restraints, and I use the word effective restraint by a court of competent jurisdiction and a positive court order properly effected on us, of course we are going to respect such court order. I think that's the much I can say. We are a serious-minded political party and we have great respect for rule of law, but then rule of law also has its own mechanisms. It has its own procedure for you to be able to give a feeling to giving effect to such rule of law. But I want to appeal to all parties in Benue State. Our party is greater than the personal interests of anyone. Let us work together and ensure that we consolidate leadership of our party in Benue State and ensure that we have a united front ahead of the 2027 general election. That will be in the best interest of anybody. Why we are quarreling will be because we know there is something at stake, and there will always be something at stake when we get united to win an election. A political party is good when it gets itself united, when it puts its house in order, and when it ensures that it gets victorious in the electoral contest. I want to appeal to all of us to let our personal interests be secondary, but the paramount interest should be that of our political party and ensuring the strength and the consolidation of our party in Benue State.
All right, Senator, on a final note, I think I also need clarity on how the NWC came up with the caretaker committee. How true is it that Governor Alia selected the chairman and 3 other members, while Senator Akume appointed a secretary and 2 additional members. That's my final question.
I've said much I want to say about Benue State, and I want to say that this is not, the political party matter is not a matter that you bring, to the public domain, particularly when meetings are held. They are held with utmost, confidentiality that is necessary for there to be peaceful resolution of the matter. And I want to enjoin such people who want to, tell story, fake, false, and of course, to desist, from such, and to embrace peace and dialogue towards eventual resolution of whatever issue we have at stake in Benue State.
All right. Senator Ajibola Bashiru, National Secretary of the All Progressives Congress, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you so much for watching, everyone. It marks the end of today's episode of Politics Tonight, but you can watch the repeat broadcast of this episode at midnight. Get in touch with us on our social media handles, Facebook, Instagram, and X at TVC News NG and at Olajumoke using the hashtag Politics Tonight. We're also on YouTube at youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. I am Olajumoke Olatunji. Good night, everyone.